Hello, sewing and crafting friends. Welcome to the TurboPurr channel, where we love all things sewing, crafting, and cats. Today, I'm going to be showing you a lot of ways to personalize a tote bag pattern with uh, hardware, charms, materials, and lots of other ideas. So let's get started. I was really inspired by this sweet pea embroidery pattern called Cinema Front Tote Bag. This design is for machine embroidery. With my machine, this was two hoopings. There was a separate hooping for the top and the bottom sections. I customized the lettering on both the top and the bottom sections. And I added a charm for one of the Scooby-Doo characters. I used quite a lot of supplies. I used hardware that I had in my stash, a charm. I used different types of stabilizers and battings with this. So I'll go into that a little bit more later. This is also a good opportunity to use decorative trims and zippers. This is a screenshot from the Creativate embroidery software. I wanted to put my name vertically in the tote bag, so I added a purple color stop and used a font in the Creativate embroidery software to type my name. I love Scooby-Doo, and at Dollar Tree I found a Scooby-Doo charm, a set of charms. They had the Fred charm, and I like Fred. I thought the color went well with this bag, so I put the charm on this bag. And a while back at the Sewing Expo, I purchased some it's kind of like a iridescent bag hardware. So these are metal pieces holding the shoulder straps in place. And I really like this, and I was looking for a place to put it, so it's perfect to use it here on this tote bag. Sometimes if you are sewing the bag straps directly into the top of the bag and then putting the binding over it, it really needs to be reinforced well, because that's a real stress point on a tote bag, is where the straps meet up with the binding. So in this case, since the straps are being held by these metal pieces, they're not stretching that top binding area around the top of the tote bag. I fussy cut the medallion looking center strips on the straps, and I used foam stabilizer for structure uh, in the straps, and also for structure on the rest of the tote bag. The original instructions on this tote were for using batting, and for the pieces that are embroidered in the hoop, I did use, the standard batting. When I put the lining onto the bag, I added the foam stabilizer because I like to have a tote bag that's got some structure to it that will stand up on its own. And just I like structured bags, so that's my preference. Here I also note that I changed the top of the bag just a little bit. I like to put in a binding, like a quilt binding, along the top of my tote bag, so that's what I did here. The back of this tote has two quilted panels that are seamed together, because in this, it's two hoopings, because these panels are fairly large. So there's two separate hoopings for this tote bag and for the quilted panels. And then the instructions are to seam the two quilted panels together. No matter how hard I try, I always have trouble getting the seams to match up totally. So I covered up the join where the seam is with a trim that I had in my stash, and I thought it really looked nice. It makes life easier when you do that, and I think sewing should always be easy and fun. On the bottom of this tote bag, I always like to have some kind of a faux leather or a vinyl bottom. And I want to mention here that when I got the tote bag together, the front and the back and the sides came together really well. And when I sewed the bottom on, I had some rippling and the bottom doesn't look perfect. Um, I could have ripped it out and redid it, but I decided, you know, sometimes it's fine if it does not look perfect everywhere on what you make because that just shows that you did not buy it off the rack. Things that are handmade are have some more personality to them, and so you can look at things as a flaw or you can look at it as just a little bit more personality and that it was made by hand. This is a picture uh, of the area of the seam line between these two quilted panels on the back, and I had some shisha mirror trim that I used to cover this. It worked quite well. I tried to select some colors that went in that coordinated well with the base fabric. And on the sides of this tote bag, I fussy cut panels of that same fabric that I used on the straps. One thing that I always prefer on tote bags that I make is to have a zipper closure at the top. I just think a lot of times if you're traveling, it's so much better to have a zipper closure at the top to keep your things from falling out. And they're really fairly easy to put in. So again, I fussy cut these fabric flaps, and there's a little bit of quilt batting in each of the quilted zipper flaps at the top. And when this zipper is totally unzipped, the zipper panels lie flat against the inside of the tote bag, so they're out of the way. So you see a lot of tote bags that are made in this way where the zipper extends beyond the flaps, and um, there's a neat ending to where the zipper is. I have a rivet press, so I put a black rivet into the zipper tab at the very bottom of the zipper. And so from here, this is the inside of the tote bag with the top unzipped. So you can see what I mean, that those zipper flaps lie flat against the inside of the tote bag when it's unzipped. And to make those zipper flaps, you just measure the width of your tote bag, how wide it is. I add some seam allowances, make the flaps with the zipper attached, and join them into the top of the tote bag, and then the whole thing is covered with that quilt binding that goes all around the top. I always like to have a zipper pocket inside of the tote bag, so you see the zipper pocket inside here in a color coordinating with the outside of the bag. I used scrap fabric that I had for the lining. And this is the completed tote bag on both sides, the front and the back. And I would like to thank you so much for watching and wish you much happy sewing. This video is for entertainment purposes only. I have put the link to the design that I used in the notes of this, as well as um, some additional information. Thank you so much and have a fabulous day. I'd love to hear your comments about what you are working on in your sewing room.